My beloved child, today is not an ordinary day, and this is not an ordinary message. On December 22nd, Archangel Michael steps forward with urgency, authority, and divine clarity, and he orders you to open this now. Not later. Not after you finish scrolling. Now. Because what is being revealed carries an element of surprise that your logical mind did not prepare for, but your spirit has been sensing quietly for days. Something has been moving behind the scenes, and heaven has been watching closely. Archangel Michael says, time has reached a threshold. This date holds weight. December 22nd marks a spiritual crossing point, where hidden intentions begin to surface, and delayed actions suddenly accelerate. You may have felt restless, distracted, or unusually alert today, as if something was about to interrupt your normal routine. That feeling is not random. It is your spirit reacting to movement that has already begun. Listen carefully, because this part matters deeply. There is a person connected to your heart, your past, or your unanswered questions, and they are planning to appear at your door soon. This is not symbolic only. It may be literal, physical, unexpected. Archangel Michael emphasizes the word door because it represents both a physical threshold and a spiritual one. Someone had been rehearsing this moment in their mind. I have been back and forth, delayed and advanced, hesitated and planned again. But now, pressure hath been placed on their spirit. What will surprise you is not just that they come, but what they carry with them. Archangel Michael reveals that this person will not come empty-handed. Something is hidden in their hands, something they have not spoken about openly. It may not be large. It may not even look dramatic at first glance, but it holds truth. It holds confession. It holds intention. This could be an object, a message, a document, or even words they have been holding back for a long time. The hidden thing represents what they could no longer keep concealed. You may have recently questioned whether this person still thinks about you, still remembers, still cares. Heaven answers that question clearly today. Yes, they do. And the reason they are coming now is because their inner resistance is breaking down. Archangel Michael is known as the angel who cuts through fear, deception, and delay, and he has been standing in spiritual battle over this situation. Here is what you must understand. This appearance is not meant to confuse you. It is meant to clarify. But clarity does not always come gently. Sometimes it arrives suddenly, knocking when you least expect it. You might even feel unprepared, wearing the wrong expression, in the middle of something ordinary. That is intentional. This encounter is not scripted by humans. It is being aligned by divine timing. Archangel Michael warns you not to dismiss the surprise as coincidence. The timing, the person, and the hidden element are all connected. You may be tempted to rationalize it, to say, this just happened, but your spirit will know better. There will be a moment, perhaps brief, where everything goes quiet inside you. That is when you are meant to listen. Let me say this gently but firmly, not everything that returns comes back the same. This person has been changed by what they've carried. The hidden thing in their hands symbolizes responsibility, realization, and consequence. They are not coming to play games. They are coming because they can no longer hold what they've been holding alone. Archangel Michael also gives a protective instruction. He says, open but do not rush. Opening does not mean surrendering your boundaries. It means being present, aware, and grounded. You are not required to respond immediately. You are not required to decide anything on the spot. This moment is about receiving truth, not rushing into agreement. If you have been praying silently, asking for a sign, asking for movement, asking for honesty. This is part of that answer. But answers often arrive layered. What you see first is only the surface. What is hidden will reveal itself gradually, and your discernment will be tested. There is also a reason Archangel Michael insists you open this message immediately. Delay dulls perception. Fear clouds intuition. This message is meant to meet you before doubt speaks too loudly. You were guided here at the exact moment your spirit was ready to receive it. Pay attention over the next hours and days. Notice unusual timing, repeated thoughts about this person, sudden urges to clean, prepare, or rearrange your space. These are subtle signs of incoming change. Heaven often prepares us before we consciously realize what is coming. And one more thing. This is important. Do not share this with everyone. Not every ear is meant to hear what is unfolding in your life. Protect this moment. Let it breathe. Let it unfold naturally. Archangel Michael stands with his sword lowered, but ready, signaling that protection surrounds this encounter. Whatever is revealed will not harm you. It will position you. Hold this in your heart, because what comes next will explain why this person waited so long, what they are truly bringing, and how you are meant to respond when the door finally opens. Stay steady. Something significant is already on its way. Chosen one. As this message continues, Archangel Michael asks you to settle your spirit and listen beyond the surface. What is unfolding is not random, and it is not rushed. There hath been a buildup of energy around you, subtle yet persistent, like footsteps approaching from a distance. You may have sensed it in moments of silence, when your thoughts drift back to the same person without invitation. This is not weakness, and it is not nostalgia. It is awareness awakening to movement. Archangel Michael reveals that the person planning to appear at your door has been wrestling internally. Their nights have not been peaceful. Their thoughts circle back to unfinished words, unresolved actions, and something they promised themselves they would never have to face again. You may not know the full story, but heaven does. This individual has been carrying a weight that grew heavier each time they chose delay over truth. And now that weight has become unbearable. There is a reason the surprise element is emphasized so strongly. You expect many things, but you did not expect this timing. You may have assumed that if this person never returned, it would be far in the future, or not at all. Archangel Michael says this return interrupts your assumptions on purpose. It is meant to break a pattern, not repeat one. That is why it will feel sudden, even if the signs were quietly present all along. Pay attention to your emotions right now. You may feel calm one moment and unsettled the next. That fluctuation is not confusion. It is your discernment activating. Something old is colliding with something new. The version of you who once waited is not the version standing here today. And the version of them who once avoided responsibility is not the one approaching your door now. This encounter exists because growth has occurred on both sides, even if it happened separately. Archangel Michael also speaks about the object or truth hidden in their hands. This hidden thing carries symbolism. It represents accountability. It represents an acknowledgement that words were insufficient before. This time, they feel compelled to bring proof, substance, or action. They are aware that apologies without change mean nothing. Whether they articulate it perfectly or not, their intention is to show rather than merely say. However, Archangel Michael cautions you not to romanticize the moment before it arrives. This is not about fantasy or reunion for its own sake. This is about revelation. When the door opens, energy will shift immediately. You will sense whether peace enters with them or tension tries to follow. That reaction in your body is important. Heaven communicates through stillness as much as through signs. You are also being prepared for restraint. Not everything needs to be spoken instantly. Silence can be just as powerful as words. Archangel Michael advises you to let them speak first. Let them reveal what they have carried. Do not interrupt their confession with assumptions or conclusions. There is more beneath the surface than you realize, and patience will allow truth to rise without force. This moment also marks a test of boundaries. Opening the door does not mean opening every chamber of your heart. You have learned lessons through distance, disappointment, and waiting. Those lessons are not erased by surprise. They are meant to guide you. Archangel Michael stands beside you to ensure that clarity, not emotion, leads this encounter. You may wonder why this is happening now, especially if you had finally reached a place of acceptance or emotional neutrality. Archangel Michael answers this directly. Closure and alignment do not always come when we stop caring. They come when we are strong enough to face them without losing ourselves. You are not being pulled backward. You are being invited to stand firmly where you are and see clearly what remains unresolved. There is also something important about your environment. You may feel prompted to clean, reorganize, or prepare your space without knowing why. This is not about impressing anyone. It is a spiritual instinct to bring order before truth arrives. When we prepare our surroundings, we signal readiness within. Archangel Michael often initiates order before revelation. Understand this clearly. Whatever is revealed will empower you, not weaken you. Even if emotions surface, even if memories are stirred, the outcome is clarity. You will not leave this encounter questioning your worth or your position. The sword of Archangel Michael does not wound the innocent. It cuts confusion away. As this message continues, something deeper will be uncovered. The reason this person waited, the reason they hesitated, and the true nature of what they are bringing will soon be revealed. There is a layer you have not considered yet, and it changes how this entire situation should be viewed. Stay present. Stay grounded. What comes next will help you understand not only them, but yourself in a way you did not expect. My dear one, Archangel Michael now draws your attention deeper, beyond the moment of the knock, beyond the visible appearance at the door. What is unfolding is not only about an encounter, but about a truth that has been ripening in silence. This person did not decide overnight to come to you. Their spirit has been under pressure for some time, and that pressure intensified as this date approached. December 22nd carries the energy of reckoning and resolve, and Archangel Michael governs moments when avoidance can no longer survive. There is something you must understand clearly. The delay you experienced was not rejection. It was resistance on their part. They knew that once they crossed this threshold, there would be no turning back to who they used to be. What they are bringing in their hands symbolizes a decision made at cost. It represents the collapse of their excuses. They are coming because running no longer works. Archangel Michael reveals that this person has replayed past conversations repeatedly in their mind. Words they never said have echoed louder than the ones they did. There were moments when they always reached out, always showed up, always confessed. Each time fear interrupted them. Fear of being seen, fear of accountability, fear of consequences. But fear has lost its grip. The sword of Archangel Michael has cut through that inner resistance, leaving them exposed to their own truth. You may be wondering whether this encounter will bring peace or reopen wounds. The answer is honest. It will do both, but not in the way you expect. Old emotions may surface briefly, like dust stirred by a sudden movement, but they will not settle again. They are rising only to be released. This moment exists so that what lingered unspoken no longer controls your inner world. The hidden item, message, or truth they carry as weight because it carries intention. This is not a casual gesture. It is something they have protected, concealed, or postponed revealing because once revealed, it changes the dynamic between you. It may be an admission, an explanation, or evidence of a shift you doubted would ever happen. Archangel Michael emphasizes that this is not manipulation. This is surrender. At the same time, you are not meant to lose your discernment. Compassion does not require compliance. Listening does not require agreement. You are allowed to receive what is offered without deciding immediately what it means for the future. Archangel Michael places a shield around your heart, not to close it, but to keep it steady. You have grown. You are no longer easily swayed by words alone. Notice how calm you feel right now as you listen to this message. That calm is not indifference. It is readiness. There was a time when the thought of this person would have unsettled you deeply. Now, there is space within you. That space is intentional. It allows truth to enter without overwhelming you. There is also something you must release today. Archangel Michael asks you to let go of the version of the story where you blame yourself for the distance. The separation was not caused by your lack. It was caused by their inability to stand fully in truth at the time. This encounter does not rewrite the past, but it clarifies it. When they stand before you, their energy will speak before their mouth does. Trust what you sense. If their presence brings heaviness, acknowledge it. If it brings relief, notice that too. You do not need to perform, explain, or rescue. This moment is not about fixing them. It is about witnessing honesty. Archangel Michael also reveals that this encounter is part of a larger alignment. Something in your life has been waiting for this truth to surface so that the next step can unfold. Whether you realize it or not, clarity in one area unlocks movement in others. This is why timing matters so much. Hold on, because what is about to be revealed next explains why this encounter had to happen exactly this way and what role you play once the door closes again. This understanding will change how you see not just this person, but your own authority. Type "I receive divine truth" in the comments if this message resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 444 is now released over your discernment and peace. And hear this invitation clearly, because it flows directly from what has just been revealed. As this truth comes to light, Archangel Michael says there are many others standing at similar doors, waiting for clarity they cannot yet name. When you choose to support this mission through super thanks, membership, or the PayPal link placed in the description, you are sowing a seed of light into moments just like this. The word declares that when you give, rivers flow where there was dryness, and oil is poured where lamps were fading. I am speaking to you directly now, because your obedience in this moment extends this message to hearts that are still waiting for their knock. This is not a donation. It is a prophetic response. As you release support, may heaven release clarity, protection, and unexpected provision back into your life. Act now, and let your seed speak louder than words. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael now shifts the focus from the moment of arrival to the aftermath that follows. What happens after the door opens is just as important as the knock itself. Many people imagine that revelation ends once truth is spoken, but heaven knows that truth is only the beginning. This next phase is about integration, understanding, and the quiet power that comes when you no longer operate from uncertainty. After this encounter, you may notice a strange stillness settle around you. Not emptiness, but stillness. Conversations may slow. Your thoughts may feel unusually clear. This is not accidental. Archangel Michael describes this as the pause after a storm, when the air changes and everything feels sharper, cleaner, more honest. That stillness is a sign that something unresolved has finally been named. You are not meant to rush into interpretation. Your mind may want to label the encounter as good or bad, successful or disappointing. But Archangel Michael advises patience. Some truths need time to settle before their meaning becomes clear. What matters right now is that the fog has lifted. You are no longer guessing. You are no longer imagining motives. You are no longer filling in gaps with doubt. There is also a shift happening inside your sense of self. For a long time, part of you may have felt suspended, as if one unanswered question kept you from fully moving forward. That suspension is breaking. Whether this person remains in your life or not is secondary. What matters is that you are reclaiming authority over your emotional and spiritual space. You are no longer waiting to be chosen, explained to, or validated. Archangel Michael reminds you that power does not always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it arrives as quiet certainty. You may find yourself less reactive, less inclined to revisit old narratives. This is growth. This is the fruit of endurance. You have crossed an internal threshold, and you cannot return to who you were before clarity. There may also be moments when memories surface unexpectedly. A song, a place, a phrase may trigger reflection. Do not resist this. Reflection is not regression. These memories are surfacing because they no longer have power over you. They are being reviewed from a place of strength, not longing. Archangel Michael assures you that nothing resurfacing now is meant to destabilize you. Another important aspect of this phase is how others respond to you. You may notice that people treat you differently, even without knowing what has occurred. This is because your energy has shifted. When inner conflict resolves, it changes how you occupy space. You become more grounded, more present, less available for confusion or drama. This naturally alters dynamics around you. Archangel Michael also speaks about forgiveness, but not in the way it is often misunderstood. Forgiveness here does not mean excusing what happened or minimizing your experience. It means releasing yourself from carrying the emotional weight of someone else's hesitation. Forgiveness is a gift you give yourself so that your future is not shaped by someone else's past. You may also experience a renewed sense of direction. Ideas that felt unclear before may suddenly feel obvious. Decisions you postponed may now feel easy. This is because mental and emotional energy that was tied up in uncertainty has been freed. Archangel Michael often brings clarity not just to relationships but to purpose. Be attentive to subtle invitations over the coming days. You may be drawn to new routines, new conversations, or new opportunities. These are not distractions. They are confirmations that life is moving again. When one door resolves, others respond. It is also possible that this person, after revealing what they carried, will wait. They may not push for immediate resolution. They may step back, giving you space. This is intentional. The encounter was about truth, not pressure. What happens next unfolds through wisdom, not urgency. Archangel Michael encourages you to honor your pace. You do not owe anyone immediate answers. Silence can be sacred. Time can be protective. Trust that if something is meant to continue, it will do so without forcing itself. As this message deepens, you will soon understand how this encounter fits into a much larger pattern in your life. There is a reason you were strong enough to handle this now. There is a reason clarity arrived when it did. And there is a reason Archangel Michael has been guiding you step by step. Stay open but stay anchored. The unfolding is not finished yet. My cherished one, Archangel Michael now invites you to look beyond the immediate clarity and into the deeper purpose behind everything that has unfolded. What you experienced was not an isolated event. It was a convergence point, a moment where many unseen threads finally crossed. Heaven does nothing without intention, and this encounter was allowed because you were ready to understand a truth that once would have shaken you. There is a shift happening in how you perceive yourself. For a long time, part of your identity may have been quietly shaped by waiting, wondering, or leaving space for someone else's hesitation. Even if you moved forward externally, something internally stayed alert, as if listening for a sound that never came. A vigilance is ending. Archangel Michael says you are no longer positioned as someone waiting at a door. You are someone who chooses when and how doors remain open. This realization brings a subtle but powerful confidence. It does not announce itself loudly, yet it changes everything. You may notice that you are less inclined to over-explain, less tempted to revisit old conversations, less interested in revisiting what has already been clarified. This is not emotional distance, it is emotional maturity. You are no longer negotiating your worth through someone else's readiness. Archangel Michael reveals that the reason this encounter had to happen now is because your future requires decisiveness. There are paths opening that demand clarity, not confusion. You could not carry unanswered questions into the next season without it slowing your momentum. What was unresolved has now been addressed so that you can move with confidence and authority. There is also something being healed within your trust. Not trust in others necessarily, but trust in yourself. You may realize that your intuition was accurate all along. The feelings you had, the pauses you sensed, the inconsistencies you noticed were real. This confirmation restores your faith in your own perception. Archangel Michael says this is one of the greatest restorations taking place right now. You may feel a sense of gratitude mixed with relief. Gratitude not necessarily for what happened, but for what you learned about your resilience. Relief because you are no longer carrying questions that drained your energy. This emotional lightness is a sign that alignment is occurring. There is also a quiet release happening around expectations. You are no longer projecting a desired outcome onto this person or this situation. You are allowing reality to speak for itself. This neutrality is powerful. It means you are no longer attached to forcing meaning where there may be none. You are free to observe, choose, and move forward without pressure. Archangel Michael also speaks about timing. You may realize that if this encounter had happened earlier, it would have derailed you. You might have compromised your growth or settled for partial truth. Now, however, you stand firm. You can listen without losing balance. This is why heaven waited. In the days ahead, you may notice that your priorities shift. What once felt urgent may now feel optional. What once felt heavy may now feel distant. This is because your internal hierarchy has changed. You are choosing peace over speculation, clarity over hope built on uncertainty. Be mindful of how you speak about this experience, even internally. Do not diminish it, but do not inflate it either. Allow it to take its rightful place as a chapter that informed you, not a story that defines you. Archangel Michael encourages you to honor the lesson without living in it. You may also feel inspired to set new boundaries, not out of fear, but out of self-respect. Boundaries formed from clarity are calm and firm. They do not require explanation. They exist because you understand what you need to remain aligned. As this part of the message settles, know that this encounter has recalibrated your path. Something ahead requires the version of you that no longer waits in uncertainty. And now, you are that person. Remain attentive. The unfolding continues, and what comes next will reveal how this clarity becomes momentum in your life. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now speaks about movement, because clarity that is not followed by action eventually fades. What has been revealed was not meant to stay as understanding alone. It was meant to reposition you. There is a quiet momentum beginning to build around you, and you may feel it as a subtle restlessness, not anxiety, but readiness. This is the energy of alignment preparing you to step forward without hesitation. You may notice that you are no longer revisiting the encounter repeatedly in your mind. Instead of replaying details, you are looking ahead. This is a sign that the lesson hath been received. Archangel Michael says when a soul truly understands, it stops circling the past and begins scanning the future. Your thoughts are shifting from why did this happen to what now. The transition is powerful. There is also a new level of discernment settling in. Situations that once confused you now feel obvious. You can sense sincerity more quickly. You can detect avoidance without needing proof. This is not suspicion. It is wisdom. You have earned this clarity through patience and endurance, and Archangel Michael affirms that it will protect you going forward. Do not be surprised if opportunities begin to present themselves unexpectedly. These may come through conversations, invitations, or ideas that spark excitement without pressure. They are not meant to overwhelm you. They are meant to remind you that life continues to expand once inner conflict resolves. When one unresolved matter closes, energy rushes into the open space. Archangel Michael also addresses something important: your voice. You may feel more confident expressing your needs, your boundaries, and your desires. Words that once felt difficult to say now come naturally. This is because you are no longer afraid of losing what was uncertain to begin with. You speak from security, not fear. There may be moments when you feel tempted to check on this person again, to analyze their actions or interpret silence. When this happens, gently return to your center. Ask yourself whether the thought brings peace or pulls you back into waiting. Archangel Michael reminds you that anything meant for you will not require chasing, guessing, or shrinking yourself. This season is about reinforcement. Reinforcing what you learned. Reinforcing who you are now. Reinforcing the standards you hold for connection, communication, and commitment. You are no longer practicing these values, you are embodying them. As you continue to walk forward, remember that many others are drawn to this message because they are standing at similar thresholds. If this word has brought clarity, strength, or peace into your heart, allow it to ripple outward. Take a moment to like this message, share it with someone who may need confirmation, and leave a comment declaring what resonated with you. When you subscribe and stay connected, you align yourself with messages that arrive right on time. This is how light spreads, one willing heart at a time. Archangel Michael also honors those who choose to engage actively, because engagement is not about numbers. It is about agreement. Agreement with truth. Agreement with growth. Agreement with divine timing. When you participate, you become part of the movement of clarity that reaches far beyond what you can see. There is one more thing you must hear before this message deepens further. The version of you that emerges from this season does not doubt their worth, their intuition, or their path. You are stepping into a phase where alignment replaces effort. Things will still require intention, but they will no longer feel like struggle. Hold on, because what comes next reveals how this momentum reshapes your future connections and why Archangel Michael hath been preparing you not just for healing, but for elevation. Beloved child, Archangel Michael now draws your attention to the transformation that is quietly taking root beneath the surface of your daily life. This part of the journey is less dramatic than the knock at the door, yet far more powerful. It is the stage where alignment becomes identity. You are not just reacting differently, you are becoming different. And this shift will influence every connection you form from this point forward. You may notice that your standards feel clearer, but not rigid. You are not building walls, you are defining pathways. You no longer feel the need to convince anyone of your value or explain why you require honesty, consistency, and respect. These are no longer requests. They are expectations rooted in self-awareness. Archangel Michael says this is what happens when a soul integrates truth instead of merely hearing it. There is also a refinement happening in how you recognize connection. Attraction alone no longer persuades you. Familiarity no longer overrides discernment. You are more attentive to how someone shows up, not just how they speak. This is not cynicism. This is maturity. You are no longer impressed by potential that lacks follow-through. You are drawn to presence, clarity, and emotional availability. Archangel Michael reveals that this refinement is preparing you for healthier alignment, whether in friendship, partnership, or purpose. The confusion you once tolerated would now feel uncomfortable. You would sense the imbalance quickly. This is a gift. It prevents repetition of old cycles and protects the peace you have worked so hard to cultivate. You may also feel a growing comfort with solitude, not because you are withdrawing, but because you are no longer using connection to fill space. Solitude feels full, not empty. It becomes a place of grounding rather than longing. From this place, you will choose connections rather than cling to them. Archangel Michael says this is the posture of someone who knows they are whole. As this inner stability strengthens, you may find that people respond to you differently. Some may feel inspired. Others may feel unsettled. This is not something you need to manage. When your energy changes, it naturally reorganizes your surroundings. Those aligned with your growth will feel drawn closer. Those who benefited from your uncertainty may drift away. This is not loss. It is alignment in action. There is also a subtle shift in how you handle disappointment. If something does not progress, you no longer internalize it as failure. You observe, assess, and move forward. This emotional resilience did not come from avoiding pain, but from facing it honestly and learning from it. Archangel Michael affirms that resilience like this cannot be shaken easily. You may feel called to revisit goals or dreams you once postponed, not because you were incapable, but because you were distracted by unresolved emotional energy. Now that your focus has returned, these ideas resurface with clarity. They feel possible again, not because circumstances changed, but because you did. Archangel Michael also speaks about trust in divine timing. You are beginning to understand that delays are not punishments, and silence is not absence. Everything that unfolded happened at the precise moment your spirit could integrate it without breaking. This understanding brings peace even when answers are incomplete. Be mindful not to rush this phase. Integration takes time. Let your new awareness settle into your habits, your choices, and your reactions. Consistency will anchor the change. You do not need to announce your growth. It will speak for itself. As this message continues, the next revelation will show you how this internal shift opens doors you did not even know were available to you. What is ahead is not a repetition of the past, but a response to the strength you now carry. Archangel Michael stands watch, guiding you forward with clarity, protection, and purpose. My beloved one, Archangel Michael now brings you to a pivotal realization, one that many people reach only after years of confusion, yet you are receiving it now with clarity. This phase is about recognition, not recognition from others, but recognition within yourself. You are finally seeing how much you have outgrown the version of life that once felt familiar. And this awareness is not meant to make you proud, but prepared. You may begin to notice that situations which once drained you now feel irrelevant. Conversations that revolve around uncertainty no longer hold your attention. You are not being cold, you are being selective. Archangel Michael says selectivity is a sign of wisdom, not selfishness. When your energy becomes refined, it naturally withdraws from what cannot meet it at the same level. There is also a sense of emotional stability anchoring itself inside you. You are no longer swayed by sudden appearances, emotional gestures, or promises without substance. Even if the person who came to your door tries to re-establish closeness, you will notice that your response is grounded. You are no longer asking, "Will they choose me?" You are asking, "Does this align with who I am now?" That question changes everything. Archangel Michael reveals that this stability is exactly what attracts high-quality connections and opportunities. When you stop operating from longing, you begin operating from clarity. From this place, your yes becomes powerful and your no becomes peaceful. You no longer fear missing out, because you trust that what is meant for you will recognize you without confusion. You may also feel a deepening connection to your spiritual intuition. Signs feel clearer. Your inner voice feels steadier. You are less reactive and more responsive. This is not accidental. Archangel Michael has been strengthening your discernment so that future decisions are made with confidence rather than fear. There may be moments when you reflect on how far you have come and feel a quiet sense of gratitude, not for the pain, but for the growth it produced. You did not waste your waiting. You transformed within it. And now, waiting no longer defines you. Pause here for a moment, because what unfolds next builds directly on this realization, and you will want to receive it with a steady heart. Archangel Michael now releases a sacred ritual of alignment. Type "I am aligned with truth" in the comments if your spirit confirms this message. Blessing code 818 is now activated over your clarity, boundaries, and future connections. And now, hear this transition as it flows naturally from the truth you just received. When Archangel Michael brings alignment into one life, it is never meant to stop there. There are countless souls still standing at their own doors, still questioning, still waiting for confirmation that clarity is possible. I am speaking to you personally in this moment because your obedience and support extend this message beyond this space. When you activate Super Thanks, become a member, or sow through the PayPal link in the description, you are planting a seed that becomes light in someone else's moment of uncertainty. The word declares that those who sow generously will reap generously, pressed down and overflowing. This is not a transaction, it is a prophetic act. As you give, may Archangel Michael stand guard over your household, your decisions, and your future. Release your support now, and let heaven respond to your obedience with favor and protection. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael now turns your attention toward what is quietly forming ahead of you. This is the phase many overlook, because it does not arrive with drama or sudden announcements. Instead, it unfolds through subtle confirmations, steady progress, and a deep sense of inner agreement. What is coming next is not meant to shock you. It is meant to fit you. You may begin to sense that life feels more cooperative. Not perfect, not effortless, but aligned. Small things fall into place more easily. Decisions require less internal debate. You trust yourself more, and because of that, you move with less resistance. Archangel Michael says this is the reward of clarity. When confusion leaves, cooperation enters. There is also a recalibration happening in how you relate to time. You no longer feel rushed to define outcomes. You are less preoccupied with timelines and more attentive to quality. This patience is not passive, it is grounded. You understand now that forcing alignment only creates delay, while allowing truth creates momentum. As this patience deepens, you may notice that certain desires change shape. What you once wanted intensely may soften, not because it was wrong, but because your understanding of fulfillment has matured. You are no longer chasing intensity alone. You are seeking stability, reciprocity, and peace. Archangel Michael affirms that this shift protects you from repeating cycles that once drained you. There may also be moments when you feel a gentle pull toward new environments, routines, or conversations. These pulls are not random impulses. They are invitations. When inner alignment occurs, the outer world responds by offering new pathways. Some of these pathways may seem small at first, but they carry long-term significance. Archangel Michael also wants you to recognize how your perception of others has changed. You are more compassionate without being permissive. You can understand someone's struggle without absorbing it. This balance allows you to remain open-hearted while staying grounded. It is a sign of emotional sovereignty. You might encounter people who remind you of old patterns, but instead of reacting, you observe. You see clearly what once would have confused you. This observation without attachment is powerful. It confirms that you are no longer entangled in dynamics that do not honor your growth. At times, you may feel a sense of anticipation, as if something meaningful is approaching even if you cannot yet name it. This is not anxiety. It is readiness. Your spirit recognizes that space hath been made for something new, and it is attentive without being desperate. Archangel Michael says this posture is rare and valuable. Do not underestimate the importance of this phase. Integration is happening here. The lessons you learned are becoming instincts. The boundaries you set are becoming habits. The discernment you practiced is becoming natural. This is how transformation stabilizes. Before you move too quickly ahead, pause and remain present with what is unfolding. This next revelation builds on everything you have received so far, and it carries a depth that will reshape how you understand connection and purpose. You will want to stay with this, because what is about to be uncovered brings meaning to the waiting in a way you may not expect. Archangel Michael stands beside you, not to rush you forward, but to guard the alignment you have achieved. What comes next is not about proving anything to anyone. It is about living from truth, consistently and peacefully. Remain open. Remain steady. The unfolding continues, and it is leading you exactly where you are meant to be. Beloved one, Archangel Michael now speaks about reinforcement, because every alignment must be strengthened to remain stable. What you have gained is not fragile, but it must be honored through conscious choices. This is the stage where clarity becomes lifestyle. You are no longer simply aware. You are actively living from what you know. And that is where true transformation settles in. You may notice that your tolerance for confusion has diminished. Situations that once tempted you to wait, hope, or overextend now feel uncomfortable almost immediately. This discomfort is not anxiety. It is discernment alerting you that something does not belong in your space. Archangel Michael says this inner signal is one of your greatest protections going forward. There is also a strengthening of your inner authority. You do not seek permission to choose peace. You do not need validation to step away from what feels misaligned. Decisions come faster now, not because you are careless, but because you are clear. This clarity saves you time, energy, and emotional labor. As you move through this phase, be mindful of how you speak to yourself. Old habits of self-doubt may try to resurface quietly, especially in moments of stillness. When they do, gently remind yourself of what you now know. You did not imagine the lessons you learned. You earned them. Archangel Michael encourages you to anchor your confidence in lived experience, not fluctuating emotion. You may also find that others begin to seek your perspective more often. They sense your groundedness. They feel your calm. Without trying, you become a place of clarity for others. This is not a burden. It is a reflection of alignment. However, remember that you are not responsible for carrying what others refuse to face. Offer insight without absorbing weight. This is also a moment to recommit to what nourishes you. Your routines, your rest, your spiritual practices, and your creative outlets matter more now than ever. Alignment thrives in environments that support it. Archangel Michael reminds you that discipline is not restriction. It is devotion to what keeps you clear. There may be times when you look back and realize how much has changed in a relatively short period. What once dominated your thoughts now feels distant. What once hurt deeply now feels resolved. This does not mean it never mattered. It means it no longer controls you. As this message continues to reach those who are standing at their own thresholds, your participation matters. If this word has brought strength, confirmation, or peace into your life, take a moment to like this message so it can reach others who are still searching for clarity. Share it with someone who may be wrestling silently with uncertainty. Leave a comment affirming what resonated with your spirit. And if you have not yet subscribed, align yourself here so you continue receiving messages that arrive at the right time. Your engagement is not small. It amplifies truth. Archangel Michael honors those who choose to stand publicly with clarity, because when one voice agrees with truth, it gives courage to many others. This is how light spreads quietly but powerfully. Now, receive this final insight for this stage. You are not being prepared to return to old dynamics with new strength. You are being prepared to step into new dynamics with wisdom. What comes next will not require you to explain your growth. It will recognize it naturally. Hold steady, because the next unfolding reveals how everything you have learned converges into a decisive moment of alignment. What is ahead is not uncertain. It is simply waiting for you to arrive fully as who you have become. Beloved soul, Archangel Michael now brings you into a moment of convergence, where everything you have learned, released, and strengthened begins to align into a single direction. This is not about sudden change on the outside, but about decisive clarity on the inside. You are reaching a point where hesitation no longer has a voice strong enough to interrupt your knowing. What once felt like multiple possibilities now feels like one clear path. You may notice that your thoughts have become quieter, not empty but focused. The mental noise that once questioned every step is softened. This quiet is not boredom or detachment. It is certainty settling in. Archangel Michael says when the soul knows where it stands, it no longer argues with itself. And inner agreement is one of the strongest signs of alignment. There is also a sense of readiness forming, even if no immediate action is required yet. You feel prepared without feeling rushed. You trust yourself to respond when the moment calls, rather than forcing outcomes prematurely. This patience is rooted in confidence, not delay. You know now that what is meant for you will meet you without confusion. You may begin to recognize how differently you handle uncertainty. Instead of spiraling, you observe. Instead of filling gaps with fear, you wait for truth. This is not passivity. It is discernment in motion. Archangel Michael affirms that this is the posture of someone who has learned the cost of assumption and the value of clarity. As this phase deepens, you may feel less inclined to revisit old explanations or justify past choices. You understand now that growth does not need defense. The chapters that shaped you served their purpose. You do not need to read them to prove anything. You carry their wisdom forward without dragging their weight. There is also a strengthening of self-respect taking place. You honor your energy more carefully. You choose where to invest your time, attention, and emotion with intention. This selectiveness is not fear-based. It is value-based. You recognize that your peace is not replaceable, and you treat it accordingly. Archangel Michael also speaks about trust in what you have not yet seen. You are no longer anxious about the unknown because you trust the one who guides you. As trust does not eliminate uncertainty, but it removes fear from it. You understand now that being guided does not always mean being informed ahead of time. Sometimes it means being strengthened enough to respond wisely when clarity arrives. You may sense that a decision, conversation, or opportunity is approaching, even if details are unclear. This awareness does not unsettle you. It steadies you. You feel capable of meeting whatever comes without losing yourself. This is a profound shift from who you once were. Notice how grounded your body feels as you receive this message. Grounding is important now. Archangel Michael encourages you to remain present in your daily life, to honor routines, rest, and simple joys. Alignment is sustained not by constant revelation, but by consistent presence. There may be moments when you are tempted to rush ahead mentally, to imagine outcomes or scenarios. When this happens, gently return to the now. What you need will arrive when it is time. You do not need to anticipate everything to be prepared. You are already equipped. This phase is also about acceptance. Acceptance of who you are now. Acceptance of what no longer fits. Acceptance of the fact that clarity sometimes requires endings before beginnings are visible. You are no longer resisting this truth. You are cooperating with it. As Archangel Michael stands with you here, understand that the next stage is not about more learning, but about embodiment. You will soon step into a moment where everything you have integrated will be applied naturally. You will not need to think your way through it. You will know what to do. Remain steady. Remain present. The final revelation will bring completion to this journey, sealing what has been learned and releasing you forward with peace, authority, and purpose. My beloved child, Archangel Michael now brings this message to its point of completion, not as an ending, but as a sealing. Everything you have heard, felt, and understood along this journey was not meant to stay as information. It was meant to become identity. You are no longer standing at the door wondering what will happen next. You are standing in authority, aware of who you are, what you carry, and what you will no longer accept. There is a deep peace settling over you now, and it is different from the temporary relief you felt in the past. This peace is anchored. It does not depend on anyone's actions, words, or decisions. It comes from alignment. Archangel Michael says this is the peace that comes when a soul stops negotiating with confusion and chooses truth fully. You may realize that the question you once carried so heavily no longer demands an answer. Not because it was unimportant, but because it no longer defines you. You have outgrown the need for certain explanations. You understand now that some things were delayed not to punish you, but to protect you until you were strong enough to remain yourself no matter what was revealed. This final stage is about release. Release of old emotional contracts. Release of identities shaped by waiting. Release of narratives that kept you tied to uncertainty. You are not erasing your past. You are freeing your future from it. Archangel Michael stands before you now, sword lowered, signaling that the battle for clarity has ended. You may notice a renewed sense of confidence in simple moments. The way you speak, the way you decide, the way you pause before responding. These are not small changes. They are evidence of embodiment. You are no longer practicing discernment. You are living it. there is also a subtle joy returning to you. Not excitement fueled by expectation, but contentment rooted in self-trust. You trust yourself to recognize what is right. You trust yourself to walk away from what is not. This trust is priceless, and it is the foundation of every healthy connection and purpose ahead. Archangel Michael declares that from this moment forward, you are no longer led by fear of loss, but by alignment with truth. What comes into your life next will not require you to shrink, chase, or question your worth. It will meet you where you stand, clearly and honestly. Take a moment to honor how far you have come, not just externally but internally. The growth you achieved in silence matters. The strength you built while waiting matters. Nothing was wasted. Type "I walk in divine authority" in the comments if you receive this message fully. Blessing code 1212 is now activated over your path, your peace, and your future. And now hear this final word, because it flows directly from this sealing. Archangel Michael says that when a soul is set free through truth, it becomes a doorway for others. I am speaking to you personally now. If this message has guided you, strengthened you, or brought clarity where there was once confusion, your response matters. When you release support through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link placed in the description, you are sowing into the spreading of divine truth to those still standing in uncertainty. The Lord declares that those who pour out will never run dry. This is not charity, it is obedience. As you act now, may heaven respond with protection over your household, favor over your decisions, and peace that multiplies in every area of your life. Stand with this mission. Act now. Let your support become a living testimony of alignment,